Welcome to Dr. P.C. Verma economics classes under YouTube, Dr. P.C. Verma economist channel. If you miss today, you can see in my channel, Dr. P.C. Verma, Economist, on YouTube. Today, I'm discussing the most important ideas, principles, and theories developed by Alfred Marshall. Before going into more detail about the topics, most of the topic we have covered earlier also, and we will cover it in coming classes. Today, I'm telling you that what Alfred Marshall thought about poorest people in his country and at large in other countries. It was his thought that the main purpose of reading economics is to find out ways and find out resources and its applications to remove poverty from the country. You think I'm talking about Marshall, who was born in 1842, and he became professor and head of department under Cambridge University. In his student life, he was always thinking to read that subject which will help in the removal of poverty of the people. Theoretically, he read in many books about the poverty, but he wanted to know exact what poverty is. And therefore, he visited different cities in Britain, and he walked through one street after another, looking at the faces of the poorest people, knowing the exact position of their income and their expenditure pattern. And he wanted to develop theory which will help the removal of poverty from the country. You all know then at that time, British Empire was one of the great empires in the world, and poor people, their problem is as it is. So when Marshall worked in Cambridge University, Oxford University, Bristol University, at different places, he worked in his lifetime. Finally, he became head of Cambridge University Economics Department. He, during the period of vacation, we know that at that time, and in my career as professor of economics, I had enough time. 1 month summer vacation, 1 month Durga Puja vacation. And in that period, I visited different parts of India and tried to know the difference between economy of Bihar, UP, and Bimaru state, and the economy of other states which are non-Bimaru states. What was the reason? That I have seen and I discussed in classroom also. I have written few books, Bihar economy, I have written, and all these things I have discussed in that book. And I followed this from Marshallian book, reading Marshallian book, what Marshall did. Marshall, during the period of vacations, visited the poorest quarters of several cities and walked through one street after another, looking at the faces of the poorest people. And therefore, he said that I am reading economics with the purpose that how to develop theories. You all know that Adam Smith in 1776 written Wealth of a Nation. You all know that an inquiry into the nature and causes of wealth of nations. He did not talk about poorest people. And therefore, economics was very much criticized by different subjects like psychology, mathematics, religious subjects. They said that economics is nothing but thinking about wealth. And the glory of economics was reduced after Wealth of Nation. Of course, Wealth of Nation is a good book. I have read it. And all these terms which you find at that time, all they are written by Adam Smith. But Adam Smith was in favor of laissez-faire, that is free trade. And his main intention was increase the wealth. He favored trading, free trade, no restrictions, so that more and more foreign currency, and by that gold can be brought to Great Britain. In Christianity, they think about the poorest people. And so it was thought that economics is not a good subject. There was no craze for economics. And that is why when Marshall was a student, he was also reading metaphysics, he was reading mathematics, he was reading psychology, and many other subjects, political science. And he was thinking that in which subject he want to get graduations. At that time, we had honors paper. One paper you can read as honors. But in Cambridge, there was a tripos. Tripos means 3 subjects, honors in 3 subjects at a time. So I have seen in his book that he has taken coaching for mathematics in the earlier stage, because his father was not in favor of mathematics. His father wanted to make him a religious person, and you know that many things in religion, in Christianity also, Protestant and Catholic, so rigidity is more in Catholic. And he was forced by his father not to study mathematics, to study religious books. And he even then he kept a small book of mathematics in his pocket and he read it outside the house. He found that mathematics is essential even for economics also, and it gives mental exercise in a right way. I have read in his book that he said that one should not read mathematics for longer hours. 1 hour doing mathematics with full concentration is enough, because it requires very much concentration of mind, stress on mind. What he suggested, Marshall, that you read hard books, you read hard subjects, and then after get and give a break. And in break time, you read a Shakespeare book or you any story book, which did not consume much more of your intellectual power. This will give a peace in your mind after a hard study in economics or mathematics. So his suggestions are very much important. When he was reading in Cambridge as a student, then he was also thinking that which subject he should develop. So his friend said that moral sciences is good. In Christianity, moral sciences stress is more. Even in convent school, if you go and find out the syllabus, one topic is related to moral sciences. And moral sciences, he read it. But his friend suggested that you read economics, because he suggested him that if you from library you take political economy. In his student life, political economy was very famous. That was written by Mill's Political Economy. J.S. Mill, very great economist at that time. And if you read Mill's Political Economy, you will get excited about the things which he suggested. He cleared the mind of the students who read Mill's Political Economy, that proprietary of inequalities of opportunities. Mill stressed upon it, and Marshall read it. Doubts as to propriety of inequality of opportunity rather than of material comfort. Mill suggested that if you have to compare, on the one side there is material comfort, on other side inequality of opportunity, then inequality of opportunity is more harmful. You may have less comfort, less material comfort. But if there is proprietary of inequality of opportunity, that is more dangerous. Marshall, during vacation period, he visited all quarters of several cities and walked through one street after another, looking at the faces of the poorest people, asking them about his standard of living, their problems, and what are the solutions available there through the church or through other sources. So when Marshall died on July 13, 1924, he was 82 years. Only one fortnight was left. So Before completing 82 years, one fortnight earlier, he died. And it is approximately nearly 82 years. He had a stone in his kidney. His health was very much falling. Weight reduced. But always he had pen and pencil and papers, writing things, thinking about this, how to write solution to remove poverty in the country and other countries. What should be the solution for the development of the people through different things? And at that time, what he found that Adam Smith was in favor of free trade, a laissez-faire. Alfred Marshall said, no, protection should be levied by newly independent countries. And his favor towards newly getting freedom, United States of America, which were uh, slave like us under British rule, British Empire. So when he got independence, then he considered that USA is very underdeveloped country, and therefore free trade is not favorable for the USA. USA should adopt protection, high tariff wall, protect their own product. Such type of thinking were developed. What was found that Marshall was a great economist, and he has written many things related to the economy. Today, I am presenting you different experience of his life by John Maynard Keynes. John Maynard Keynes was lecturer under Alfred Marshall in Cambridge University. And after death of Marshall, John Maynard Keynes decided to write about Marshall, Alfred Marshall, whole life, 1842 to 1924, about his life, that how he was in childhood, how he was young, how he was in married life, how it is found different institutions there in England, what were his recommendations to different commissions, ICS officers for India, and many things related to that. So, John Maynard Keynes said that Alfred Marshall was very much disturbed that which subject he should take. Then it was suggested by his friend. Alfred Marshall birth July 26, 1842. Death death July 13, 1926. 1924. Alfred Marshall, birth July 26, 1842, death July 13, 1924. John Maynard Keynes, had written a paper about Alfred Marshall, 1842 to 1924. Written a paper about Alfred Marshall, 1842 to 1820, 1842 to 1924, and discussed about Marshall in the economic journal, September 1924. Keynes writes Keynes writes a friend who had who had read a great deal of what are a two called the moral sciences. Constantly said, constantly said, ah, if you understood, if you if you understood political economy, you would not say you you say would not say that if you understood political economy, you would not say that. So, so Marshall read Mill's political economy. Political economy and got much excited excited, much excited, much excited, much excited about it. Marshall had no doubt. Marshall had Marshall had doubts as to the propriety propriety of inequalities of inequalities of opportunities opportunity rather than rather than of material comfort rather than of material comfort. Then then in then in his then in his vacations Marshall visited the poorest poorest quarters of several cities. Several cities and Marshall walked through one street one street after another, looking at the faces of the poorest people, faces of the poorest, faces of the poorest people. Next, Marshall resolved Marshall resolved to make resolved to make as 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 thorough study study as thorough study as Marshall could of political economy. Alfred Marshall's marriage. Alfred Marshall's marriage and loss of his fellowship. And leaving Cambridge Alfred Marshall's marriage and loss of his fellowship and leaving Cambridge for a time. In 1876, Alfred Marshall became engaged to Miss Mary Miss Mary Pele. Alfred Marshall Alfred Marshall and Miss Mary Pele Miss Mary Pele were married in 1877. 1877. Miss Mary Pele was a former was a former pupil of Alfred, Marshall, and and Pele was lecturer in economics at Newham marriage by involving the loss of his fellowship meant leaving Cambridge, leaving Cambridge for a time. Marshall went to Marshall went to Bristol as principal, as as principal of University College, University College, and as professor of political economy. Political economy. Marshall gave a number of public evening lectures. Marshall gave a number of public evening lectures and a series and a series on on Henry Henry George Progress and Poverty. Progress and Poverty. The work of Marshall's the work of Marshall at Bristol at Bristol was much appre- was much appreciated there. in January 1885, 1885, Marshal Alfred Marshal returned returned to Cambridge, returned to Cambridge as professor of professor of political professor of political economy. In the economic journal, volume 3, page 745. Marshal Marshal had written Marshall has written he took part in most of the he took part in most of the questions which agitate which which questions which agitate most of the questions which agitate modern economists, modern economist. But own masters, but his own masters were Plato and Descartes. Everything everything that they said, that they said, and all that, all all that all that rose directly out of what they said, out of what they said, had a special interest, said, had a special interest for him. Marshall says, in pure pure economics, pure economics, his favorite subject was the the currency. and he took a keen interest in the recent controversy in the recent recent controversy controversy on it. On it. His views were generally conservative. Marshall Marshall views were generally conservative, and he was never converted 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 to bimetallism by bimetallism, but he was ready to follow, ready to follow where, wherever, where, wherever Ricardo had pointed out, pointed the way, and in a letter written and in a letter written not long ago, not long ago. He raised, he raised the question. He raised the questions. He raised the question. He raised the question. He raised the question whether the world, whether the world would not would not outgrow outgrow the use of gold as its standard of value, as its standard of value, and adopt adopt one of those, adopt adopt one of those, adopt one of those artificial artificial standards, artificial standards which which vex the soul of Mr. Giffen, vex the soul of Mr. Thus, now coming to the end, we first congratulate all those who are viewing this uh, class about the Marshall's desire to remove poverty, and for that he read economics. He had choice of many subjects, but he concentrated on economics, so that poverty in the country is removed. There was great poverty. This shows there was great poverty in England. Although at that time, England or Britain was the empire. India was slave under United Kingdom. But reality is that during the period of Marshall, in 1890, he has written his book Principles of Economics. What we find out that in many cities he visited the rural people area and found their tragic lifestyle and their problems, and therefore he was determined to read economics in order to find out the way how to remove poverty. And the poorest person in England and now in the whole world, the target is to remove poverty, and 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 the real income of the poor people should be increased so that they will cross the poverty line and become the normal living with all facilities for necessary for human being. And we have seen that Marshall got married with a girl uh, who was her student, and he got married, and thereafter he had to leave Cambridge, and he had moved to the Bristol, and there he worked as a principal and a professor of political economy. There he worked. So the Alfred Marshall and his wife Mary Paley, that is Mary Paley Marshall. So Marshall loved too much his wife Mary Paley, and he has written that for his whole life, she was with him to encourage how to write books, where to uh, find out the ways to finalize the principles of economics. There are many problems, physical problems, as I have said earlier, that Marshall had a stone in his kidney. His face, his health was uh, going down and down. He was very frustrated that he has to complete the main work, how to remove poverty and how to develop economy. But anyhow, he worked too much, 12 hours per day, even if he was not fit. Uh, and therefore, I suggest you to read it. And in other series, I will discuss other things related to Alfred Marshall, which are related to the world economy as well. Now, at last, first, I appreciate you if you read this topic, and I again desire that you must like and share and comment at least in one line, so that I could see your vision about this. Thank you.